First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here and joining me on this, joining me on these adventures. I want to start in Brooklyn, and I just want to start with maybe my mom, um, where I came from, and how I came from there a bit. I do remember some of Brooklyn. I don't remember that much. I remember my grandfather had a pet snake, and I remember feeding him chicken bones. That's a vivid image, and another vivid image is I remember sitting on his lap, my grandfather's lap, and my grandpa's lap, and he was blowing smoke rings. And to this day, I can blow a pretty good smoke ring myself. Um, there's some memories. I remember my mom. We would go. We lived in Coney Island, so we lived close to the Coney Island beach. And I remember my mom. Every time we would get ready to leave, she would pick me up and carry me into the water to wash off all the sand, and I hated that. And I remember I really, really hated that. These were all good memories. And my mom pierced my ear on a bathroom sink in the apartment there where they were at. I remember that. Um, a lot of good memories. I haven't really talked to my mom about what she went through as a kid in New York. I mean, we've had heart to hearts, but I really never truly understood what she was going through at the time when she had me. I mean, I obviously know it was a lot. She was young, and from what I hear in the 70s, in this 1977 when I was born, um, there was a lot of tension between the Italians and Dominicans, Irish, so I think that was one of the biggest. Well, one of the reasons I think she was having such a hard time is just, I think my grandfather was he was a man of the law, and I think he was pretty much set in his ways, and kind of frowned upon the fact that his daughter has a Dominican son. Um, I don't remember much of the projects of the building. I have a very distinct. So the other day I took a load of scrap to the scrap yard, and I drove. You have to drive around the back, and there was a very distinctive smell. And as soon as I smelled it, it triggered a smell that I associated when I was a very young child in Brooklyn, and it associated with like the stairwells in the projects where we were at. It's you could clearly, it was pure urine, like old nasty urine. And I remember that smell. It immediately triggered that memory. Um, I remember I had a couple friends. I used to play with two boys there. I would have probably had to been 5, between 4 to 6 at that time period. So before all of this happened, my mom, going through everything she was going through, decided that this was no environment and no place for her son. She didn't have the means. She told me stories already of how I would be so hungry I would suck my thumb so hard that I would suck away the skin. I mean, I don't know if that's the truth. And she didn't have any milk or anything like that, so she would put applesauce in my bottle and make the nipple extra big, that way I'd get it through. And she said I could shrivel that whole plastic milk bottle in no time. so I think that she just thought that this was New York City, Brooklyn, New York was Coney Island was no place for me. So she wanted something more, something different. And I think she was caught in the fact that I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm 15. Yeah, I don't know anybody. She doesn't know anybody. She didn't. There was nobody out there assisting help to her. And then I guess out of nowhere there was this man, good friend of the family I went to. Um, he somehow knew my mom in a weird way. Not in a weird way, but he somehow knew my mom and told her about a farm and a family in Lancaster, Pennsylvania that she should probably go to. This was when I was a baby, so that she should go to be safe. And I think I'm not sure how long she thought about it or if she even thought about it, but she went. She ended up going, and thank God, because that's when I met the family that later adopted me. Um, the first time we went, my mother and I both came to Pennsylvania. This was when I was a baby. There was a time period that we both went back to New York. So, what makes this a little bit harder is I kind of wish I would have done this earlier because my mom, God rest her soul, and I'm so blessed to be able to have had time to get to know my birth mother, which is a privilege that is denied to so many adopted kids. I got to know my birth mom. And to find out, and you'll find out later in this story, that my birth mom lived literally 4.5 to 5 miles away from the farm I was living at when I got adopted. She lived right there. I never knew that. I would get a birthday card from her at times. I would get Christmas cards at times. I didn't know she was that close. All this time. She did it for the right reasons, She did it. She did it to keep me safe. Um, so that was the first time my mother and I came. I was a baby. We stayed with this family, and I'm not even going to go into details with them yet. That's a whole further thing. My mother and I both came from Brooklyn, New York, to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to Gap, Pennsylvania, Christiana to be exact, to Christiana, Pennsylvania, and we stayed with this family. And I can't tell you how long it was. I'm not exactly sure how long it was, but we were with this family, and I don't know much, obviously, from that time with the family in Pennsylvania. I don't know much about. I don't have any experiences from then because obviously I was a child. So then after that, I'm not sure how long we stayed there. I went back to my mother and I both went back to New York, and then those are the experiences that I remember, like the beach. I remember the ear piercings, and the ear piercing. I remember the stairwells, and that's the time period of the memories that I remember of New York. It was the second time that I was there. So my mother and I, we were both in New York for after we came back from Pennsylvania. We were in New York for a little while, and I guess it just kept getting worse, and it kept getting bad. I know there were some situations with my birth father. Obviously probably wanting to know where his son's at and wanting to know what's going on. Now I've heard stories and rumors, and I'm not one to speculate, and I'm not going to get into them right now, but there would be a lot of questions I would have for my birth father if there would ever be a time and a chance that I could see him, or yeah. So my mother and I were both back in New York, uh, it didn't take long for her to realize that, the family that I just came from was probably the best option and the best solution, um, for me. So we both went back to Pennsylvania, to this farm, to this family, and we were there for, again, I'm not sure how long we were there. We both went back to this family, and we stayed on the farm, and we were there for a while. I was there for a while because that's ultimately where I ended up at. But my mother, she joined the church. She actually started dressing like they did. I'm trying to put myself into her shoes of, where she was at that time. I pretty much went through the same thing. I mean, leave out some differences, but she didn't know nothing about the Amish or the Mennonites or the Beachy Amish. She knew nothing about that. She was there was a place in Virginia, and so a lot of Mennonites and a lot of Mennonites, Amish Mennonites, it's called volunteer service. What they'll do is when they get a certain age, so a lot of Amish, they'll do Rumspringa. That's a time where the Amish consider, a grace period. Basically, I call it. It's a grace period for them to go sin. Go do what you want to do, get it out of your system, and then come back when you're ready. Um, so the Amish or the Beachies, the Amish Mennonites, they don't really believe that. They believe more in of like volunteering your time. So the same time period, a Mennonite person will volunteer service. Whether it be a nursing home, whether it be a boys' home, children's home, Haiti, you name it. They have a bunch of VS services that they go to, and so my mom went to a uh, a home in Stuart Straff, Virginia, and he was also Amish Mennonite, Beachy, um, denomination, and I went with her, and she worked at this. It was like a home. It was like a home for the mentally challenged, um, Amish and Mennonite kids. A big place. I mean, I have a few memories, and I'm thinking this time I'm probably about 7. If you look at the photos, I'm probably 6 to 8. I'd play 6 to 7, 8. Um, so we're at Faith Mission Home, and Faith Mission Home, I think, is where I want to stop on that side of the story. So the other day, we went to the store, to the farm supply store, and I got some baby chickens and some baby ducks, and I brought them home and surprised my family. Wasn't sure how they were going to react. My one daughter was with me. On the weekends, I like to get up. Well, every morning I get up early. I get up extremely, extremely early every morning. I mean, I guess it's just my way of getting a handle on the day. And first of all, thanking my creator for another day, because it's been denied to so many. So I like to, first of all, thank him for that. And then I like to plan my day. Like if it's a weekend, I like to shoot B-roll. I'm always out shooting something. So in the morning, I'll figure out what scenes or what shots I want to get that day, and then I'll get them shots and scenes. And um, so I was chasing a buggy. I was driving down the road one day, and there's a horse and buggy that had got loose, and it didn't have a driver. And so I'm driving down the road, and I get there was a Mennonite guy on the side of the road, and he's like, flagged me down. He jumped in, and we take off. And it didn't dawn on me until a little later that I should probably start filming this. And so I turned my camera on, and we were able to stop the horse and get it into a driveway. Thank God, because those are very dangerous. There's countless of accidents every year involving horse and buggies, and just to see one go safely is amazing. So the ironic thing about it is, behind this farm, there's an eagle's nest. Well, there's two of them. So they had a nest there before, and the original nest, big nest, huge, it a portion of it blew over, and it was filled. It had baby chicks in it, and when it fell over, the chicks fell out, and of course died. So the eagles now are in the process of building a new nest. So I took my camera out the other morning. I got some shots. Now my lens was kind of bad. I can't find my other lens, so I had to order another one. But my next lens, I should be able to get a little bit better shots of these things. But man, they are graceful. Man, what a true inspiration seeing these things just soar. It's a great motivation. We're gonna chat with Merlin. I'd like to get Merlin on here, as well as, man, so many other people. But I want to start. I think it would be fair to have a guest in studio. I really don't want to just Skype somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'd much rather have somebody sit right here with me, get rid of this guy, and have somebody, real. And I want to wait until this situation that we are all in to be resolved and get over with. But until then, I'm gonna just try to keep giving you guys little bits and pieces of story. And so one thing I do want to say is, if you're in the medical field, in any way, shape, or form, in this time that we're in, that we're all experiencing, and you are the heroes, in my perception, I think that you should wear your credentials proudly. I think that you should wear them like a brand new pair of Nikes. I think you should wear them like a Gucci bag. Because if I see somebody wearing that and I'm out in public, I'm going to try to do what I can to help you how I can. So that's my call to all you. Please wear your credentials proudly everywhere you go. Wear them to the club. You get in free, I hope. If you have any comments or questions, you're more than welcome to ask me any questions. I'll answer them. We're working on a website where I'll be able to be a lot more interactive with you. I have lots of stuff I want to give away. I have tons of stuff I want to give away. So we'll get that, and then we'll make it. We'll figure out a way. I have somebody doing the website right now, so we'll get that all. Once we get that all straightened out, figured out, we can start doing that kind of stuff. I got tons of T-shirts. I was just looking at one right now. Where is that thing? Is it over here? There it is. Yeah. So. Remember these? I used to make these when I was a kid. Me and my dad, my adopted father, we'd make these, and he would sell them. He sold them all over the world. So these are, what my job would be was to these 3 rings, 1, 2, 3 links. I would cut chain in 3s, and then my dad bought me a welder, and we would weld them. And this is actually one that I made from probably when I was 10 to 14 years old. There's a big story behind these. I was making these when life was really bad for me, and we'll get into that. But I became a pro at this, man. Like the point is to get the ring off, and so it's just like that. I may be the world record holder. I don't even know. So, but just to have this, is it's awesome. There you have it. Let me do it again. That was quick. Holy smokes! Let me try. I know I used to be like probably one of the. There we go. There you go. You can have that. Big story behind them. Big story. But thank you, everybody. Tune in next week at 7. I'll have something new and I'll have something fresh, and we'll probably go live. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a blessed day. Sold out the plan, that's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. I'm just laying be bitch. It's not out the color, sold out the plan, that's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. I'm just laying be bitch. It's not about the color, it's all about the plan, that's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. I'm just laying bitch. It's not about the color, it's all about the plan, that's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. Explain no V-bitch. It's not about the color, it's all about the plan. That's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. Explain no V-bitch. It's not about the color, it's all about the plan. That's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. Explain no V-bitch. It's not about the color, it's all about the plan. That's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. Explain no V-bitch. It's not about the color, it's all about the plan. That's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man. Explain no V-bitch. It's not about the color, it's all about the plan. That's why I am. I said I am the black Amish man.